When you look at the statistics of how much time kids are spending with their parents these days, it's like 35 minutes a day.
That's it?
When you remove bathing, making dinner, when you are face-to-face with your kid, bonding, doing an activity where you are interacting, that's an average of 35 minutes a day. The benefit of homeschooling is the opportunities and the freedom that you do have. I didn't have to finish all my classes by a certain period. I had 9 months. If I wanted to get everything done in 2 weeks, I could have. I had so much flexibility to do everything that I was interested in. I took art classes. I did gymnastics. I volunteered. And that was only because I had the time to do it. I was not in school until 3 p.m. I spent so much time with my family. My relationship with my mom is one of the things that I'm most proud of. I inherited a lot of her values because I spent so much quality time with her that she was the one who raised me, not a teacher. And I think that that is so important.
Yeah, what are your thoughts, Sam?
That is a fabulous video, especially on the heels of the other videos that just assume the guilt of the parent. You
Right.
know,
I love that.
and here you have a testimony from a child who, and I don't think this is an unusual testimony either. I think this is a normal way kids are homeschooled. You have a lot of time after the academics are done to spend it in service opportunities and internships and travel and all the art, all the things that you're interested in. I just think this is truly representative of what homeschooling is. And it really is sad how little time parents and their kids have together now. 35 minutes on average.
And I feel like that's probably generous, especially there's a difference between the time you spend with your kids and there's quality time you spend with your kids. Here's an example. I don't know how you and Joe feel about this. Of course, you're a night owl, so this might not resonate with everybody. So, but I'll tell you, with my wife and I, and I'd love to hear kind of match with you and Joe, but throughout our day, especially if I'm working at home or working on a script or whatever, or editing and working with clients, Steph and I will powwow and be like, hey, let's cover A, B, C, and D. And then the day's going and, you make sure you read stories to the kids, you engage with the kids. By the time all of that's done and it's now 9 o'clock or 9:30 and all of those things you'd mentioned you wanted to accomplish, we don't have any of it. Like, we don't have any of it. Like, I can't, Steph's like, okay, here's the 4 things we said we want to talk about. I just need you to rub my feet and don't talk to me about any of these things because it's now at the end of the day. So, and it's, am I having quality time with my wife in that moment? Sort of. She's very tired and I'm tired. So I feel like the same thing applies to kids because we have all these things we want to do. And this happens with our kids. Some kids come over after school and play with Grayson and you can see on their eyes, they're exhausted. You know what I mean? Like, Grayson's been looking forward to some buddy time and Grayson will even say, oh, is it summer or is it school? And I was like, oh, it's summer. He's like, oh, that's good because when my friends come over after a full day of school, they're usually really tired and kind of cranky. And which is totally valid, right? I mean, we've asked so much of these kids, sit still, move over here, stand up here, fire drill, go out to recess for 8 minutes. You know what I mean? That when it's like, okay, you can have fun now. It's like, well, you got me up at 7 o'clock this morning and I'm growing. So I really should have slept until maybe 8. You can just see it. So it's not even necessarily a good quality 35 minutes a day. You know what I mean?
Well, and just like, I mean, I know there are lots of kids and that have lots of time with their parents in
Oh,
all
yeah.
kinds of school settings, but it is troubling that this is an average. Just like was attending a workshop and a national park ranger said that the average amount of time that a kid spends outdoors, and this was several years ago, is 8 minutes a day now.
Oh my
And
gosh.
so the school day fills up more and more time, and then their extracurricular activities. It's just a time issue. And then you just don't have time, especially during the good part of the day, to be with your kids.
Some comments this person said, it's done the day I have kids. If things don't change by then, I'll be homeschooling them. This person said, I homeschooled my girls until 11th grade. They took the GED and went to community college. They're socialized, kind, and brilliant. In fact, it's interesting. A lot of these negative comments are I don't want to be overly negative, ill-informed. I mean, they're just assumptions. They're kind of
Right,
just the
that's right.
assumptions that we've been, like you just pointed out, we're conditioned to kind of just believe it. Oh, they must not know anything and be home all the time. And it's usually things like, well, the homeschool kids I know were weirdos. It's like, right, because those ones were strange. You wouldn't know, and there's weirdos in public school anyways. But I think the takeaway is this. I would just like to encourage people, and if this is a real, even if you don't want to homeschool your kids, you don't think you should homeschool, or you think that's weird, I would just encourage you to take inventory. Just take inventory of your life. Sit down. If you're married, sit down with your spouse and really like be so intentional. Write out your week, write out your work schedule, write out your wife's work schedule, work together, write out your kids' schedule, and then just use a marker and start highlighting how much quality time you have, A, with your spouse, and then B, with your children. Like, write it out. Like, don't assume, like, write it down. Zan, the amount of people I know that did land on homeschooling because they did that. They had a moment where they just said, okay, I know I love my wife and I love my kids, and then everything else really is after that. Does my time and workflow and lifestyle reflect what I'm saying is important to me? Because any one of us can say things that sound great, Sam, right? We value family dinner. We value my wife first, then my kids. It's kind of like that famous phrase, like, if you were accused of Christianity, could it be proven? It's very similar.
Would there be enough evidence to convict you? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.